Hi everyone, we just cleared GR150 last night, and at this point I want to talk a little bit about the foreman meta right now in Season 20. So we already expected that Nova Necker would be very good, and it turns out it actually is. We also know that the Witch Doctor was very good, and we can see that it actually is. And both classes have cleared GR150 as the trash killer already. And we already have like really good clear times of like, I don't know, 8-9 minutes or so for the top times. And GR150 is not really, something really hard anymore. So last season, obviously, it was very easy because of the season theme and Bazooka Wizard. But even right now, you don't really need much for it. We are like Paragon 2500-ish or so. But yeah, we still can optimize so much. We haven't really tried very much. We basically just kept pushing higher and higher. And then, for the higher tiers, we used like maybe 10 keys each. Basically just open and close until we find some kind of open map, even a desert map or a Shrouded Moors map, not even necessarily Festing Woods. So this is basically how it goes. You can complete almost any 150 basically. It's really cool. So you don't have to fish much, and our characters are not even that strong. So for example, Wendy, our Necro here, has only like 5 augments on her gear or something, because most of her augments are actually on her like red DPS gear and then her Corpse Lens Rift Guardian Killer gear. So yeah, it doesn't take that much, and if you ever wanted to do GR150, this is actually a pretty good season for it, I would say. So you just need like a dedicated team. You don't really need much in terms of Paragon or gear. As long as you have like kind of decent gear, maybe like Paragon 1.5k plus, you can already start pushing that high, I would say. There's a little bit of a difference between Necro and Witch Doctor for your trash clearer. So it seems like Necro is a bit stronger and Witch Doctor is more consistent. So what this means is that Necro usually has a lot of trouble finishing off elites, especially in the higher tiers, because this is also a point where, for example, the Crusader has no chance of finishing the elites off himself either. So when you farm something like tier 135s or so, this is fine, because basically you do one nuke, one CME cycle, and everything dies besides elites. That's gonna be like 50%, and then the Crusader actually has enough damage to finish them off in like 1 or 2 cycles with the help of the Necromancer. But with Blood-type Blade requiring as many targets as possible in the AoE, it's very hard to actually finish off the high HP targets. Witch Doctor, on the other hand, has it a little bit easier here, because it still deals alright damage when you have as little as like 10 or 20 targets in a pull. And potentially you can one-shot elites with the Phantasms so quite easily on at least a little bit lower tiers. So when I played Witch Doctor on like up to 140, 144 or so, I sometimes one-shot yellow packs. And the Necromancer can't do that, like no chance at all. So basically for overall farming efficiency, overall just with clearing, Witch Doctor is better, but Necro has a higher potential basically. And this makes it so that Necro is used for the high tier pushes, for the really fast runs. And it's not that necessarily terrible for doing like 135 speed runs or so. It still works. I would say they are roughly equal for that. So this is a kind of like a little overview of what class you want to use. Both are fine, I would say, and you can also do really sick 150 times with a Witch Doctor if you optimize it properly. I'd say it's equally fun to play with both classes. So I played the Witch Doctor myself, and we also tried the Nova Necro where I played the Barb, and both metas are really cool, I think. We also tried different Rift Guardian killers, so I want to talk about those as well. So we have the Crusader as the best Rift Guardian killer, and then after that we have the Corpse Lens Necro, which we've played with a lot, and also the Frenzy Barb. There are potentially 2 more setups for Necromancer that are potentially extremely strong, which one is the Thorns, which destroys at least the Blighter really fast, and there's like 1 or 2 other bosses that also are pretty good, and then most of the bosses will be much slower than the other Rift Guardian killers. So we might see some people use that for like a rank 1 push, but I think it's unlikely simply because of how good Crusader is. Crusader is not really much behind like a good Blighter kill with Thorns, and this makes it so that Crusader is almost always going to be used, I think, because of the consistency. So when you get like a really sick rift and you do like a 5-minute time for a rank 1 clear, it doesn't matter all that much if your Rift Guardian is going to take like 20 or 30 seconds longer, because it's very rare to get these insane rifts where you actually make these times. So I'd rather go for consistency, I assume. But we'll see. It could happen that someone goes for Thorns. I wouldn't really recommend playing that build. We have Crusader, which is, just overall extremely strong and consistent. Yeah, and then there's the Bone Spirit Necro, which is also some kind of like high-end one-shot GR150 with Guardian setup, but it's very hard to pull off. So you need extremely good gear, extremely good Paragon, and potentially you can kill almost any with Guardian in like 30 seconds by shooting Bone Spirits that fly forever with those pans that make them deal more damage. And basically you shoot them from like 10 screens away and let them fly into the Rift Guardian, and then will pop the Rift Guardian. So this is one other setup that is playable, but of course there's you can screw that up quite easily, because if you miss with your shots, then they just fly past and don't do anything, and you're screwed. And also the Frenzy Rift Guardian killer, I've seen Rex play that a bit, and it seems relatively good. I think they pushed it up to 145 or so. And for example, with Power Pylons, they were killing bosses in like 1 minute or 120 or something. So pretty good for Frenzy. I think that overall Frenzy versus I'd say that overall the Frenzy Rift Guardian killer versus Corpse Lance is probably quite equal from what I've seen. I didn't really look exactly at the details, but yeah, like those two Rift Guardian killers are a little bit behind the Crusader, and Crusader just performs really well. It was definitely fun to see like the different setups you can play this season. It's nice that we have two really good options for trash clear. It's nice that we have multiple options for Rift Guardian killers. Even though like on the really high tiers, you notice the difference between Rift Guardian killers especially. Like if your Corpse Lance is not super optimized and you don't get a pylon or something, you will at least need like a minute more, probably up to 2 minutes more than a Crusader, for example, which is simply also like not really hard to pull off. So a little bit sad that the gap is so wide, but after the season ends, Crusader will be a bit weaker as well. And then, for example, Frenzy and Crusader will be relatively close, and we'll see whatever else we're getting in the new season with the new sets. And, there might be some other options then. So all in all, I would say it's going pretty much as expected. They nerfed the Witch Doctor a little bit in the last minute after the PTR. And we can see that it's a little bit weaker than the Necro now, but after season ends, Necro is going to be weak again, and then we have Witch Doctor as the best class so far, and we'll see if we get anything new in the new season. And the same with the Rift Guardian killers. Right now Crusader is performing really well because of the season buff, and that's also going to change. But compared to the Necromancer, it's not going to completely cripple the Crusader build. It's just going to be slightly weaker. Anyway, I would also expect some nerfs to Witch Doctor for next season, because Witch Doctor is performing extremely well. Crusader is also performing extremely well, so potentially they might tweak their numbers a bit. And 150 will not be as easy to do anymore in Season 21. At least that is my expectation. We'll see what happens. But yeah, right now 150 is very achievable. And if you want to go for it, then I can only recommend, trying to set up a group, and you don't need to farm much. Right now I have like 150 hours playtime, and we are already overkilling. We're not really trying to fish for really good drifts. Yeah, we did like 10 keys or so, just open close, like for like, I don't know, a few minutes basically. And we played like, through most maps. You start with like a decent first floor, maybe get like 30%, and then you just keep doing trash pulls really fast on whatever they get on floor 2 or 3 or 4, and maybe you get a counter somewhere that makes it quite easy to clear 150, and then you're good to go. The supports are still roughly the same. So we have the Monk with shields for Necromancer. Witch Doctor doesn't need it because it doesn't run squirts, but also the Rift Guardian killers need squirts. So yeah, basically you want to have this mantra spam Monk, and then you have a Barb, doing the pulling and the pixeling and so on. It's just normal stuff basically. For 2 and 3 men, the meta is a little bit different. Right now it seems like Witch Doctor plus Barb is going to be relatively good in 2 men, and in 3 men you can also run Witch Doctor plus 2 supports. I don't think that Witch Doctor plus 2 supports is actually really good in 3 men, so this is just kind of like a early season potato setup, I would think. And it's probably going to be Witch Doctor plus Barb plus Boss Killer, or Necromancer plus Barb plus Boss Killer for 3 men. And in 2 men, I see the potential at least for a double DPS setup. So it can be Witch Doctor plus Boss Killer or Necro plus Boss Killer, or also like the Frenzy support Barb hybrid that I mentioned in my Barbarian guide. So I think it's gonna be one of those setups, because on tier 150, and we're gonna see tier 150 2 men, I think it's gonna be extremely hard for even the Witch Doctor to kill any boss. and for a necromancer it's pretty much impossible. So I think that most likely we will see a double DPS setup, probably Nova Necro plus Crusader, but it could also be the Witch Doctor. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my little meta overview here for Foreman. I actually managed to push my main gems to 150 now. My solo setup is almost ready. I'm going to do probably like one more day of farming and start my solo push on Wednesday. I'm aiming for tier 140. I might go higher if I realize it's too easy. So we'll see. My character is pretty strong. And I have like 1,000 bounty mats that I can use for crafting and so on. So yeah, I'm quite excited for that. And it's going to happen soon. Stay tuned. Yeah, hope you liked it. I'll see you guys next time.